Hello and welcome. I'm Susan Johnson, the president of the Association for Diplomatic Studies and Training. Thank you all for joining us today to hear from Olga Bogomolets at this critical moment for her country, Ukraine, and for all of us who are committed to democratic principles and to the peaceful settlement of disputes and conflicts. We are very pleased to partner with DACOR for today's virtual policy discussion, which is part of ADST's pilot program Foreign Insight project. And I'm very grateful we're able to connect this way despite this difficult moment. This Foreign Insight project is aimed at contributing enhanced insight and understanding through seeking foreign perspectives on key issues and conflicts in international relations. We invite you to follow and to support our work to produce and share modern American diplomatic oral history. It's an important supplement to official records and third-party commentary. Today's moderator will be Biljana Jovic, who served as a specialist and political analyst at the U.S. Embassy in Belgrade, and who developed the Foreign Insight pilot program for ADST. She knows Dr. Bogomolets personally. After the moderated conversation, there'll be time for the questions you have sent in. Over to you, Biljana, to introduce our distinguished guest and speaker.
Thank you very much, Susan. It is my profound pleasure to introduce to you today an Ukrainian physician, philanthropist, and politician, Dr. Olga Bogomolets. I have had the privilege of knowing Dr. Bogomolets for over 8 years, and have always been impressed with her integrity, moderation, and genuine commitment to truth and humanity. At this critical moment for her country, for her compatriots, and for her own family, I appreciate greatly the time she's taking to talk to us today. For months, we have all faced intense propaganda coming from different sources, frequently based on sensationalism, distorted truth, and individual agendas. It is sometimes difficult to get a clear picture with so much noise. I hope that today, with Olga's help, we will be able to get more clarity on the biggest misperceptions about the current crisis, to understand the challenges and have a better grasp of a way forward. Dr. Bogomolets, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Chairman. Thank you, Biljana. It's my great honor to be the part of your big international team of democracy, and I will do all my best to help my country and to support my country. So first, I would like just to introduce myself to those people who don't know me, just a little bit about my vision of world. So I was born in Kiev in 1966. So right now I'm 55. In 2 days I will be 56 on the 22nd of March, 56. But I feel myself like I'm 25. And for all my life, actually, I was born not in Ukraine. I was born in Soviet Union. In 1966, Ukraine was the part of the big communist country. And those people who were born, actually, we were born and we were treated like pioneers, Komsomol members, members of treated by Lenin Communist Party, like to live in the special frame in the time of the Cold War, when the United States was the big enemy. Afterwards, Ukraine became independent, and we all were very proud because we felt like we are Ukrainians. And we were very proud that our country became really independent. And I remember that day in 1983, when one of our presidents signed the document that we give away our atomic power, nuclear weapons. And Ukraine, by this way, actually, people were supporting to get rid of nuclear weapons because Ukrainians are very, very peaceful. So we are very warm and peaceful country. And of course, we all understand that we have no more weapons. That's why we have to have guarantees for more stronger countries to give out guarantees to defend our country. That's why the Budapest Memorandum was signed. Actually, this memorandum was a guarantee to our country to be in our borders, so no one will destroy our country. Afterwards, Ukraine was developing, again, like independent country. We are a very young country. We are trying to build our democracy. It's not easy. The corruption is very strong, but we are on our way, and we understand what to do. And myself, again, a little bit back to my family. My family, actually, my big historical family. I know the history of my family for 600 years. And the family has a Polish-Lithuanian region and was nobilitated by the coat of arms 600 years ago. And in my family, we have Polish, Ukrainian, Lithuanian, French, German, Greek, and Russian actually roots. So I don't have any kind of like nationalist vision that only the Ukrainians are the best and better than others, because my family is totally mixed, but I feel myself Ukrainian. I was born in Kiev, and all people whom I know, they have feelings that they are Ukrainian because we were born in Ukraine. So also I have relatives in Russia. I have relatives in Moscow. I have relatives in St. Petersburg, in Kyrgyzstan, in Ireland. And I exactly understand and I know from inside what's going on, from the family inside. So what was happening with Ukraine after we became independent and we signed the Budapest Memorandum? Afterwards, Ukraine was developing, but was under very, very strong pressure of Russia. And Ukrainians, we felt like we are the youngest brother, always. The youngest brother who is not so clever, who is a little bit like stupid, whose language is not so beautiful, but somehow we were trying to accept this situation. So many Ukrainians, and also, for example, my mother, she always speak Russian. She knew Ukrainian, but she never wanted to speak Ukrainian because on her opinion, Russian language was better, Russian culture was higher, Russian poetry was better than Ukrainian. But when Ukraine became independent, it was my decision. I started talking Ukrainian, so I speak both languages. They're native for me. My mom talked to me in Russian. I was talking to my children in Ukrainian. The languages are different. Ukrainian language is much more closer to Polish and Belarusian language. For example, spasiba, thank you in Russian, дякую, дзенькую, the same words in Polish and in Ukrainian. But actually, Ukraine was under very high, strong pressure economically and politically and mentally. Then was the Orange Revolution. The Orange Revolution was in 2004. I was in that time coordinator of the medical support of the revolution, and Ukraine was divided politically because of the historical origin for two parts, like Western Ukraine and Eastern Ukraine, and Kiev in the center. Because of Western Ukraine and Eastern Ukraine, politically and mentally, they're really a little bit different. Western Ukraine, they always speak Ukrainian. Eastern Ukraine speaks Russian. The Western Ukraine was not the part of the Soviet Union until 1939. So one generation more, they were independent. So they were able to keep the culture. So there were differences, but everyone was accepting like they're Ukrainians. And people who speak Russian, they could be very strong Ukrainian nationalists because they accept Russian like their native language. That's why in the 2004 actually was the first very strong political crisis. And politicians, because they, of course, they are thinking about their electorate who will vote for them, they were trying to make more difference between people. So they were trying to keep, okay, I speak Russian, and the Russian is the better language. Another one was speaking Ukrainian, and Ukrainian was the better language. So internally, politicians in Ukraine were dividing people instead of uniting them. Afterwards, in 2014, of course, you remember that time, we have Revolution of Dignity. In between, I am a medical doctor. In 2004, I also, in 2005, I was the personal doctor of our ex-president Viktor Yushchenko. You remember that he was poisoned by dioxin, but no one really politically, never ever, this criminal thing was bring back to people. So we don't know who did that. And in my opinion, it's very, very big and strong political mistake of all Ukrainian security system. The same with Georgy Gangadze, who was killed, and we never knew who was the author actually of this killing. So many questions for the political system in Ukraine and for the strength of democracy. So I was working as a doctor. I'm professor of 2 universities, making lectures. I do, like, to be professor in Ukraine is a hobby because you cannot make money and cannot support your family. So I have my business and I have a big dermatological clinic. I was doing dermatology, oncology, lasers. I studied in the United States. So I was developing my country, developing medicine, and in 2014, when young people who were dreaming about joining European Union, they were hardly beaten. And on the 1st of December, 100,000 of people just went out to the streets just to ask the President Yanukovych why they beat the students. They did nothing bad. And these people were hardly beaten. At that time, I started organizing medical care for all those people who were outside on the streets. And the movement was very, very strong. But the country politically was very, very weak. So so many emotions and not enough internal political strength to make the correct steps. And in that time, when the country was very weak because of the internal it was like giving birth to democracy, real democracy from inside, from the bottom. At that time, you remember that Crimea was occupied. So the borders of the country were actually destroyed, and after the Crimea was occupied, the part of the Donbas region was occupied. And no one in the world was really talking about the war. Ukraine did not fight because the country was so weak, because we didn't have an army, because we were under the influence of Russia. So all the politicians were destroying the country. So at that time, no army, no weapons, nothing. That's why actually, and at that time there was not a political position of our head people who were running the country, and also the world democracy, they have no reaction. They go, okay, something is going not good, but it's really not the tragedy. But in 2014 was the tragedy, because the Budapest Memorandum, which was international document which guaranteed for Ukraine our independence, our integrity, it was broken by Putin. And because no one really reacted, and we have no weapons because we gave them nuclear weapons, so there was no way for us to be strong. And because at that time was no reaction, politically, they were trying to occupy the Donbas, and no one was talking about the real war. But at that time, the war started not on the 24th of, not 23 days ago. The war started when the Crimea was occupied and when Donbas was occupied. During all these years, okay, Ukraine was trying to become stronger. We from inside understand that Russia will not stop from that time. But again, coming back to Ukrainian history and mentality, the eastern part of Ukraine have very, very strong roots with Russia. And western part of Ukraine have very strong roots, even family roots. A lot of people who live in the western Ukraine, they have Hungarian passport, Ukrainian passport, Polish passport. Close to the borders, they have brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, children who live already abroad, and they feel like their family. The same situation is on the east. The part of the families living in Russia, so it's next village, next door, next city, they have their neighbors. So people in the east, they cannot believe that Putin can do any harm for them, because he was the hero who was trying to support, to save Russian language, Russian culture, to save those people. So half people of Ukrainian people who love Ukraine, who accept them like Ukrainians, they never can believe that Russia can do something bad. And one of the greatest things which Putin did for our country, he did. He made the mentality of people in Ukraine more patriotic and more homogeneous. Is it correct word? Homogeneous. So people understand that he could be a real enemy. He can kill women, destroy hospitals, schools. Already 103 children are killed. 130 children are hardly wounded there in the hospitals. And I'm not even talking right now about the civil people who were bombed, who have no houses, who have no family, who have nothing. They don't understand how to live, what to do. But what I see from inside the country right now, there is no even having bombing every day, sitting in the bottom floors under the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my grandson. I have 4 kids. All of them are in Ukraine. And I have a grandson. He was 2 days ago 4 months. Mm-hmm. So my daughter is keeping him in the thing what you put on your ears.
Headphones.
Yeah, to listen music, but mm-hmm. special things for him not to hear the bombing, not to lose his. But what I want to say that people in Ukraine right now are very cool, no panic, none. So every woman, every man is ready to kill. Mentally, physically, anyone who will come to our country, people see so much harm, so much blood, that they are ready to die here, but not to give up. And this gives really great strength for those people who are sitting for 10 days, 15 days, no water, no toilet, no light, no nothing. They're sitting surrounded by Russians who are shooting to their backs. Of my clinic, the person with whom I'm working for 20 years, for 10 days, he was sitting in Irpin. He, his old mother, his dog, his family, his children, without any kind of communication. So we thought that he was killed already. But in 10 days, they were able to go for a dozen kilometers. So they were going through the neutral zone where dead people are laying just on the streets. And Russian soldiers were shooting some people who were getting out to their backs. So he was very happy that he survived. And you know that theater in Mariupol was bombed. And in the theater, there was a place where 1,000 women with children were trying to save their lives. And they were bombing the theater, and it was written that children are there. So the main goal of the Russian army is not to what like the Putin is giving like his official position, that he wants for us to have a neutral status. He wants the denazification, so no Ukrainians, no Ukrainian language. Come on, there is no way for this kind of discussion. No way. Because Ukraine was never enemy to Russia. Was. Now it is different. And Ukraine started to be very, very strong, not ready to give up. And of course, we need support. It's not support for Ukraine. It's support for democracy. It's not that we are asking for something for us. It's for the whole world. Because, you know, just for everyone, just imagine the situation that you are living in the neighborhood in a, like, how you call this house when the 2 families living together, like twin house?
Townhouse, yes.
Duplex. So 2 families are living in a duplex. big families with mothers, brothers, wives, children, grandchildren, 2 families. Different families, not bad, not good, just different. And one day you come back to your home and you see that your neighborhood come to your home, to your place, to your garden, and started killing your children, your grandchildren, and your women. What you do?
We are experiencing some technical difficulties. We can see. Yeah, we can see you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, everything works well.
So you come home and you see the terrorist and a criminal who is making harm to your family. What you do? You call police and to emergency, okay, to save lives and to take the terrorist. So the police should come and grab him and put him to the prison, correct? And the emergency should come and support the people who were wounded. So it's in normal life. But somehow it's not working in the political life. So we see the very strong geopolitical discrimination when strong country is destroying the countries in the neighborhood. And not only Ukraine, Prидnestrovia was the same situation. If you will see the countries which are around Russia, you will see a lot of things, a lot of points, how he make harm. He make the Putin, it's not, when I say Putin, it's not just one person, it's a system. So I want you to understand, because 71% of Russians, they accept what Putin is doing. So he's not, he's just a product of the system and product of the mass media manipulation of the what's going in the heads of people. So they really believe that they are killing Nazists, which are making harm to Ukrainian Nazists, what they are looking for. But they don't understand that we don't have Nazists. We have just Ukrainian people who want to be independent and who want to create democracy and to create really strong country. And I'm 100% sure that we will win. There is no way for us and for the whole world to give up. Because if it will be the precedent, so if we will give 1 millimeter of possibility for the system, the whole world will be destroyed. Because Putin's system was unpunished. He was not punished when he grabbed the Crimea. So he destroyed the Budapest Memorandum. He didn't accept the world rules of democracy. No, he wanted to create his own rules. So he is a terrorist. He's a criminal because he's killing civil people, children, women, and he is destroying neighborhood. So for the world understanding, it is very important now to support Ukraine, because we are fighting not for our borders. We are fighting for the world democracy and for the world rules of democracy.
Thank you very much, Olga. These are very strong messages. And before we switch to the Q&A part of today's conference, I would have a couple of questions to ask you. Was there anything that could have been done differently to avoid this tragic outcome? Moscow frequently refers to the failure to implement Minsk agreements for the Donbas region that you mentioned earlier. Why do you think that that Minsk I and Minsk II have not been implemented? We talked about that in the conferences a few years ago, actually, at the time when those agreements were signed.
The Minsk agreements actually were created by some European leaders, promoted to neutralize the situation. Why it happened? Because some European countries, we know their names. It's Germany, it's France, it's Hungary. They are very, very economically dependent on the Russian economical process in Russia. So France, Germany, Hungary, they're very, very dependent on what's going in Russia economically. So the previous politicians in Germany, they make German weak. Of course, I understand why they were feeling like this, because German made harm to the Soviet Union. Hitler was not the best person in the world, yes, so he made harm. So Germany was trying to keep balance with the Soviet Union and with Russia, so to be good friends. And this trying to be good friends, this destroyed the economical independence of Germany. That's why, because they were trying to find the balance, so to make Putin happy and to be happy and not to make any economical harm, because when you cannot, when you have to increase the prices for gas, for electricity to your people, they will not vote for you next time on the next elections. So that's why the Minsk agreements, for our leaders, it was actually they have no choice, no choice, because at that time, actually, I created the special military medical headquarters in our Ministry of Defense. I was co-head of the military medical quarters. We have every day hundreds of those who were killed and hundreds of those who were wounded. Hundreds. Our hospitals were overcrowded. Our doctors were falling because they cannot even, they have so many wounded people that we have no bandages for them, no bandages. So for our people who were in charge of the country, they were trying to do anything to stop this killing, destroying of the nation. So that's why, on my opinion, the good side of the Minsk agreement was that we, after the signing of the Minsk agreement, we stopped to have so many people who were killed, the best Ukrainians who came to fight for the country. But economically and politically, the Minsk agreements were, let's say, I don't know the proverb, like when you're trying to sit on two chairs. When you're trying to sit on two chairs, sometimes you lose because there are no chairs. So the European Union was trying to sit on two chairs to be good for Putin and somehow to help Ukraine. So that's why the finish of this Minsk agreement was not good, because it was not correct. I mean, at that time, maybe it was the best solution. But for long term, this could not work, because the goal of Putin, his main goal, when we listen, he's now making conversation with the president of Turkey, what they want from Ukraine. No weapons, no language, no culture, no Ukraine. what you're talking about. There is no way for that.
Do you think that this is the biggest challenge in diffusing the crisis and in moving the negotiations forward, that the minimum or the compromise perceived by either of the sides is so different from each other?
Can you repeat your question again?
What is the biggest challenge? What is the biggest challenge in diffusing the crisis right now? What do you see as the biggest challenge?
Our main goal now is to destroy the Putin's army. So that is what we need. Right now, we need weapons and money to destroy them. And only after we destroy them, there is no way for conversation, because they already killed so many people. There is no way that he say, okay, I will just go and you will have no Donbass, no Crimea, just forgive me. So they destroyed villages, they destroyed cities, Kharkiv, Sumy, Chernihiv, Irpin. They destroyed all airports in Ukraine. So only one thing which we need now is the weapons and money to destroy. We are ready. And I'm not, there is a lot of conversation about not NATO to close the sky under Ukraine. I exactly understand why it's impossible, because the words to close the sky, they are, there is no like curtain to close the sky. To close the sky means that someone should kill those pilots who are trying to get on Ukrainian territory. And if the third country will come into this war, there will be no end.
Yes, I understand. I understand you fully. Although we all hope to see some ceasefires so that, the tragic deaths of civilians and the people in Ukraine would stop. So do you think that it is realistic to expect some ceasefire, or do you think that Ukraine would fight until, as you said, the Russian army is destroyed?
Right now, we already destroyed hundreds of his tanks, of his helicopters, of his airplanes, and thousands of his soldiers on our land. We are not going to his land. He's sending to Ukraine young boys. They are laying in our morgues in the pathologic department. They're like 18 years old, and they're coming to our territory. And Ukrainian commanders are what they have now. They have a special guns, and they're shooting not with the bullets, but with the papers, to explain how they can put their hands up and say, okay, we will not shoot, we just want to be alive, just save our lives. So our goal is not to kill as more Russians. Our goal is to show that no one can come to our territory with weapons. If you come to us with weapons, you will be killed. No way. So for me, the main goal right now is to destroy Russia's army, to throw them away, and then afterwards to start conversation. Right now we have peaceful corridors to save civilians. So this is happening every day. Like every day we have a dozen of different corridors with a Red Cross, International Red Cross and Ukrainian Red Cross. Actually, Red Cross and UN, they are not doing the full work how they could react. And even those international supervisors which were on the territory of the occupied territory on the east of Ukraine, they just disappear when the war started. So what is their goal? When I told you about the neighborhood, about 2 homes, when someone is killing your relatives and you call the police and you're waiting the police will grab the terrorist. So Putin should be accepted in the world as a terrorist.
Okay, I would have many more questions, but now we have to give the chance to the audience to ask you a few questions. And I would like to ask Keith McCormick of DACOR to share the audience questions with you.
Thank you, Biljana. And thank you so much, Dr. Bogomolets. This is fascinating. And we do have a number of questions. I think I will just pose the questions. I may have to combine one or two, and I'll close my screen here now so that you're not distracted. But one of the first questions is, Elizabeth Warner from DACOR was struck by your comment about how many people in Russia have relatives and friends in Ukraine, and they are talking back and forth. The question is, do you see any changes in attitudes among ordinary Russians because they, as a result of hearing from these relatives and friends about what's actually going on?
Yes, of course. And we actually do. Everyone who has relatives, we are working on that. For example, my relatives in Moscow, they have 5 children and 3 grandchildren. So they went away from Moscow and that they took away, they actually sent all their boys to Georgia because they don't want to go to be mobilized and to go to kill Ukrainians. So I think that this situation in Russia will create the wave of immigration, not only from Ukraine, but also from Russia. People will be trying to go out, but not all of them. This could be maybe 10 to 20%, because as I told you, 71% of Russian people, they are proud of what Putin is doing.
We have another question from Michael Williams that focuses, who thanks you very much for your gripping presentation. But his question is, what about the role of the church, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, the Russian Orthodox Church, their recent separation? How is that affecting this?
Thank you for an excellent question about the church. Now, in the previous times, the fighting in between 2 churches was very, very strong. One church was from the Kiev, actually Ukrainian Patriarchate. We are talking right now about the Orthodox, not about the Catholic. We have in Western Ukraine, we have more Greek Catholic, and in the center Ukraine, more Orthodox, Ukrainian Orthodox, and in the east, more Orthodox, but Moscow Patriarchate. Now, the church is united. Let's say when we have war, no one in Ukraine is supporting Moscow, is supporting Russian Patriarchate, even the Russian Moscow Patriarchate Church. They are sitting very, very quiet, and I think that they are shocked. They can never ever believe that this could happen. You know, some Ukrainians, when I'm talking to my friends, even not only those who just live in different countries, but those who are in Ukraine, they are telling me, okay, you know, we still can't believe in that. We just think that this is a nightmare, that we will wake up in the morning and everything will be fine. But it will not be fine, because we all understand that it's not like military conflict or military operation. There is no military operation of Russia in Ukraine. There is a war and annexion of our territory.
We saw reports that Putin first said that no conscripts would be sent into this special military operation. The Defense Ministry later said, yes, they were. He was reportedly furious at that. Clearly, there appear to be Russian conscripts in Ukraine. And you and others have talked about the effect on them when they suddenly discover who they're fighting. Would it make any sense for Ukraine to offer any kind of safe conduct for deserters or take other steps to encourage ordinary Russian soldiers to just leave this war?
Can you please repeat your question once more?
I think the question was that it must be, and you've said, a shock for many Russian soldiers to find themselves killing Ukrainians. Surely some want to surrender, as you said, or desert. Is there any way that Ukraine could encourage this kind of desertion?
Yes, sure. We, as I told you, our commanders already, we have a special advertising with the big microphones, of course, in Russian language, also with the special letters of happiness. So they shoot to the Russians, not with the bullets, metal bullets, but with the letters, how you can save your life. But many soldiers are really very, very afraid, because if they will give up, and if they will actually come to Ukrainian side, they will be shooted and their families will be destroyed in Russia, or they will go to tribunal, or if they will come back. So it's not easy, it's difficult, but of course, and I will be very happy to send you the link, because right now our military commanders, they are also working to talk to the high position of Russian militaries not to fight. You see the same situation in Belarus, because we were ready to be fighted from the Belarus side, but they are still keeping their soldiers and not making harm to Ukraine, not occupying from the Belarus. They are just shooting by the rockets from the Belarus territory and even from the Black Sea. But of course, we are doing all our best to save lives. And
TJ Holland, who is our curator,
he will be shooted.
Yes. We have a question from our curator at DACOR, TJ Holland, who says, well, the first priority surely is preserving lives, but so much of this is about preserving Ukrainian culture as well. Can you tell us anything about what Ukraine is doing to preserve irreplaceable treasures of art and architecture?
My heart is crying. I'm trying, trying not to show you real emotions which I'm going through, because like we are crying every day and every moment, but we have to keep strong. We really do nothing trying to save the culture, because right now we have no time for that. Myself, I have a museum. It's a family museum. It's the biggest museum of Ukrainian Christian art. My family, in the time when we were part of the Soviet Union and it was forbidden to go to the church to pray, we were trying to save, to collect Ukrainian domestic icons. And I founded 15 years ago the museum. You can Google it, or I will send to Biljana the link. The name of the museum is Castle. It is 2,500 square meters, and we have more than 10,000 pieces of Ukrainian ethnography and Christian art. It's a very, very special place. So we have partners, of course, in international museums and Lithuanians. They called us and said, okay, we're ready to accept what you have there, but it is impossible to bring it out from Ukraine. And when I started talking to people who are taking care of this museum, they told me, okay, please don't take it away because it gives us strength. So I'm not sure that the museum, the unique museum of Christian art, I'm not sure that it will survive. And I spent all my life and my family to create this museum, to support this museum, to give it back to people. But I pray and I hope very much that it will give strength and we will win, and then you can come and visit the unique and only one museum of Ukrainian Christian art and domestic icons and ethnography. I hope very much to see all of you after our victory. But there is no way right now to save the museums, to save the theaters. You see that Mariupol Dramatic Theater was destroyed. I worked in the military hospital in 2019 in Mariupol. So I was in that theater. We are doing all our best to save people's life, but there is right now no place in Ukraine where you can be safe. Only in the bottom floor, because the bombs and the rockets are coming all over Ukraine. So not only the east, not only the south part, but also western Ukraine. They're bombing airports and bombing civilian like villages and houses. It's just terror. They're not destroying the military parts, but they are making harm along for people, thinking that people will be in panic, but they are not.
Well, one of the things that has become clear from this to us is that Putin has made an enormous mistake if he thought that Ukrainians would not resist this. And you're describing for us what it feels to be really there under this bombardment. But as you think about how the war might end, it has to end somehow, are there any areas where Russia's interests and Ukraine's interests are not completely different, and they might begin to build some kind of negotiations?
Sure, of course. If Russia is ready to accept strong democratic Ukraine, we are going to negotiate to talk about that. If Russia is not ready, we're ready to die, to show that we don't want to be weak and we don't want to live under the Russian pressure. We are the whole nation of patriots. So it's not the way to negotiate that we will not speak Ukrainian language, we will not speak sing Ukrainian songs, we will not have weapons, we will not support our army. There is no way to talk about that. So right now, it's time for the military, it's military time. So right now we need weapons.
Thank you, Dr. Bogomolets. As you say, I understand Ukraine has not yet perished. But that is our last question. I'm afraid we're out of time. I'm going to ask our president, Jim Dandridge, to close by thanking you on behalf of all of us.
And thank you very much, Keith. And I am working on my screen here to make sure that I do have a visual with you. First of all, Dr. Bogomolets, happy birthday on the 22nd. And congratulations on the 4th birth month of your grandson a couple of days ago on March the 16th. I hastened also to note that the timeliness of today's program in the month of the celebration of the woman, in addition to the challenge to democracy on a global basis, is of eminent importance. Now, this first-person exposure with you this morning on the exchange, on the valiant fight by the Ukrainian people to protect their country, their citizenry, freedom, and democratic values from the assault of an autocratic nation, Russia. The free world is really held in positive awe at the courage and the resoluteness of the Ukrainian people, as has been demonstrated in your presentation this morning, and the request to reject history repeating itself at the Ukrainian people's expense. So I had expressed to you our sincere thanks and admiration for allowing us to share these valuable insights today. I can assure you that you've not only the thoughts and the prayers of American people, but also their collective support through the many NGOs that are working in conjunction with government agencies to help relieve the stresses that are placed on the heroic Ukrainian people. And with this, I'm going to ask all of the participants in today's program to contribute often through your favorite NGOs to provide relief and support to our democratic Ukrainian friends. DECOR also expresses thanks to ADST for sharing this program, and particularly also to our ADST conversationalist and interviewer, Bruno Jovic, and our DECOR moderator, Keith McCormick. I want to wish all a pleasant weekend, and long live Ukraine in freedom and liberty. Slava Ukraini.
Ukraina. Yeah. I think we can all join in saying that, Jim. Slava Ukraina, and thank you so much, Olga. It's, I think you've made a real contribution, as you said, to the efforts of your country to.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for your support. And I just wanted to say that in the wartime, you really can exactly understand who is your friend and who is not, and who is the person just to sit somewhere and just, we exactly see the position of Israel. All Ukrainians are so surprised. Israel is not accepting Ukrainians. No Ukrainian Jewish people cannot go to Israel right now. And Poland accepted more than 1 million of Ukrainian women and children. A lot of them have the post-traumatic stress disorder. Some of them have oncology and ill people, so they're accepting and supporting. Not yet. America is not actually accepting those people who, if they won't come to United States. Canada did, Germany did, Swiss did, others mostly European countries, they did. So we are very thankful to United States, because of course we exactly understand that United States in the world is a symbol of democracy. Yeah. Russia is the symbol of old, let's say, how to be politically correct. So we feel strong support from United States, and we hope very much to much more support of NGOs, because we have 30 million of citizens in Ukraine, and Russia have 144,000. Million. We have 30 million and they have 144 million. So if he will make the total mobilization, if he will bring 40,000 soldiers from Syria, we will fight them, but more Ukrainians will die. We don't want to die. We want to live in peace. We want to be a really strong European democracy, peaceful country, supporting all the neighborhood. And I hope very much that our all the agriculture which we are selling all over the world, that the war will finish, because we have to put seeds in our, not the dead soldiers, we have to put seeds in our soul to have good crops in the autumn. Thank you once more.
Thank you.
very much, Olga.
Thank
All the
you,
best.
Olga. We'll be in touch, I'm sure. And thank you, Biljana, for your role in organizing all this and for your Foreign Insight pilot project.
My pleasure. My
This is
pleasure.
a great way to start off with Olga and Ukraine. So thank you. And Jim, thanks.
And thank you, Susan.
Okay, I guess we're officially
Peace.
over now.